EU grants for small businesses. Who can apply for it? What you need to do and where you're going to get the grants from. Everything will be answered in this video. Let's talk about it now. Hi, I'm Oliver and welcome back to the channel AskMeStartup, where we talk about startups, small businesses, and the world that surrounds them. If you're new here, please consider subscribing and pushing the notification bell because it really helps this channel to grow. If you're into business, if you plan to start a business, if you have a small startup, please feel free to download my free startup checklist, link in the description below. So today's topic is a really relevant topic for anyone planning to have a small business, or planning to start a small business, already having a small business or a medium-sized business. What are possible grants from the European Union to help you out in your business life? You should be aware that this is a topic everybody is struggling with. How am I going to grow? How am I going to get the money I need to achieve my goals? Now, in principle, there are many grants you can apply to, and please be aware, I will link all the possible grants down in the description below. So if you want to take a click here, feel free to look them up and see whether you're able to apply for them or not. But as a small and very important step, as a reminder to everybody of my viewers, you need to do your homeworks first. It is a hideous and tedious work. You need to have your paperwork up, ready and correct. Otherwise, applying for these grants is a waste of money, a waste of time, and it will never succeed. The basic principle is quite straightforward and should be obvious to anybody considering to do a business. You need to know what your cost structure is and your potential expenses. You need to know what your expenses are today and what they're going to be in the future in the next 1, 2, or 3 years. If you have that basic setup of answers, and in principle is a business plan that you need, and everybody should do a business plan, at least lean business plan, video up here for a lean business plan, then you're ready to apply for one or many of those grants. But please don't feel like jumping the rope here. Do a thorough work first and then apply to a grant, because otherwise there will be no success. And from my point of view, sorry to say that, I have to be very clear. This should be the most logic thing to do for everybody starting a small business. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. Now, this video, and I want to make this clear, is not for those small business or startups that have an innovative idea. That would be a grant called Horizon 2020, which is more specific on this. We're not talking about everyday moms and pop business maybe. I have to be honest with you, not every moms and pop business will be able to apply for these grants or might be rejected by many of them. But if you understand where politics wants you to go, there will be funding. For instance, renewable energies, cybersecurity. There you will find a lot of topics in that direction where you can get grants more or less guaranteed, because that is what politics wants new businesses to solve. So InnoFin is the European Investment Bank, and their aim is to support small businesses in the innovation and technology sector, to give them a hand to come to market or to grow the market so that they can be sustainably run. If you're lucky, you can get something at least 25,000 euros. Some grants go up to 7.5 million. So there is a huge variety, and if you want to take a closer look, link in the description below. The next program is called Competitiveness of Enterprises and SMEs, and is actually meant to enlarge or strengthen the competitiveness of European companies. Grants are given up to 150,000 euros, and this grant has been around in the European Union since 2014. Then you have the program for employment and social integration, which isn't as big as the InnoFin, but grants up to 25,000 euros are possible for those companies that wouldn't have float otherwise, by integrating and helping other people, socially neglected people or foreigners, etc. That might be very interesting for all of you guys who are actually non-native EU citizens. The next program is called EIC Accelerator, which is the European Innovation Council. Their aim is to support small businesses and startups on the innovation part with up to 2.5 million. Of course, those applications are more complicated But the goal here is to become the master of new technologies. They want to get the competitiveness back to Europe and not let the US or China lead the way in modern technologies. Last but not least, there's the call for third parties. This aims to support small and medium-sized enterprises, specifically in the digital space, to come up with new products and services. Now, when you go through the links, I'm pretty sure you're overwhelmed by what you need to do. Maybe you're not quite sure if you're filling out the forms correctly or if your data, your financials are really the way they should be. Are you getting any help? Is there anybody to help you out? The good answer, yes, there is. For instance, the European Enterprise Network is here to help you. They can help you out with a range of topics from setting up and applying for funding or finding manufacturers or distributors, etc. Now, everything you might need in a small business to get off the ground. You might not get the money from them, but the help, and that is the important part. Sometimes, as an entrepreneur, I'm sure you're pretty well aware, you have to struggle a lot and you have to deal with a lot of things. You know, everything is an emergency, but you can't deal with the important stuff due to the emergencies all the time. Hence, if somebody can take over some parts of your work, or at least make it more easy for you to apply to these really complicated grants, it will be a big, big help. So I've provided you with a list of potential grants, and I'm not going to go into details on which specific industry should apply for which grants, because that's going to be terribly complicated. You know exactly which business you're in, you know exactly which industry you're in, and hence it should be easier for you directly to figure out which grant to apply to. But whatever you do your work thoroughly. Really take your time to make this really annoying paperwork properly done. Get this as your first priority. And as boring as it seems at the beginning, it might pay off because you will get to know a lot of other people while applying for those grants. And by that, maybe fostering new businesses or business relationships that will help you to grow in the future. All right, everybody, I hope that short video was helpful. If you have an additional grant that I haven't mentioned today, please feel free to drop it down in the comments and share it with everybody out here, because that's what we're trying to do. That's what I'm trying to push here. I'm trying to help everybody out there in the world to understand European businesses and European grants and European startup systems so that people are more comfortable to go down the path of success in the future. Thank you for paying attention. If you made it so far in that video, please subscribe and push the notification bell, because it really, really helps this channel to grow. As always, thank you once again, and I'm going to see you next time.